Pilots Club of Turkey. Today we're gonna fly the Airbus A320 from the Istanbul airport to the Sabiha airport quite close to us. We're gonna use SID and a star. They are a little bit modified for this flight, and we're gonna do the ILS approach Zulu version to the 06 airport. And we're gonna take off from runway 36 here at Istanbul airport. So the computer, the MCDU is set up. We have a route in that navigational display, and we're gonna make a sharp right hand side turn right away almost. We can take a look at the chart here. There's no clever SIDs and stars to make this flight because it's so short. So I have a ASMA 4S SID out of Istanbul, and I have a Drama 1G star for the Sabiha airport. So they are a little bit mixed. That's why I have a little bit modified that route. So there's the SID out, and then there's the star in. So we're gonna make that turn. We're gonna use managed mode, and a very good thing in the takeoff is to have constraints on. When you push the constraint, you can see the constraints. In this case we have 2,200 feet or above at Foxtrot Mike 032 and 240 knots. So at this moment we have all three balls at 6,000 at the heading and at the speed. So they are all managed mode. Speed is managed, meaning it will take the constraint of 240 knots. When it's past that GPS points, it will accelerate to 250 knots, which is of course the max speed under 10,000 feet. And then the heading is also in managed mode, so it will not fly heading naturally, it will fly in nav mode, so it will follow the GPS. And because the altitude is also in managed mode, and we are set at 6,000, which you can see there also 6,000. It will not go above 6,000 before this GPS point because of constraint, but it can go over because it's plus, so it wouldn't be under 2,200 feet. So that's the plan. Shortly, the takeoff checklist you can see here, which the main points is the auto brake to max. In case of a reject the takeoff, we're gonna have wheel braking system on full power. Then it's the signs to on. So there's the seat belts and non-smoking signs. Then we have the spoilers to arm. So we're gonna set the spoilers up in case we reject the takeoff, the spoilers deploy. And we have flaps configuration. You can see the flaps only says takeoff configuration, but in the MCDU, if you press performance, you can see that is actually flaps 1 here. So I will put flaps 1 there. And now I can see that flap 1 is coming out there. Once they are moved and locked into position, we can do the takeoff configuration test. When I press this, I think there is 25 parameters, and they all would say something, but I press it now and it should say normal. It doesn't, because it says the trim is out of not in a correct, and you can see the trim is not correct. It should be 0.1 at the moment. So you can see that it can say stuff. Alright, there are many more reasons that could the test wouldn't go through. Alright, So we have the V speeds and the MCDU. There's the V1, there's the rotate speed, and there's the V2 speed. The rotate speed you can see there at 130 knots. So depending on the aircraft, the pitch maybe to 7.5, 10 degrees first, and then you go more up to the familiar 15 degrees. And you just look at the nose, there's no certain inputs. I mean, the side stick doesn't have that much feeling into it. It's a little bit, it's robotic flying. So you only look at the nose position and your hand coordinates how much you pitch up. So we want to see the speed reference system and the runway annunciator here in the flight mode annunciators. Alright, let's do a flex takeoff. So we will have a flex value of 55 degrees, which gives us 87% of power to the engines. Alright, so I have everything set up. I will now release the parking brake. I will advance the thrust levers to flex. You can see that there's the flex. So flex is coming on there. Alright, so the aircraft is now moving. I'm a little bit applying rudder there. We have manual flex and we have SRS. Everything looks fine. Alright, I can see there the V1 speed is coming there. V1. And now I'll start to rotate. So 7.5, and we have positive rates. I will soon take my wheels up and I'll go up to 15 degrees. I'm just putting small inputs from the joysticks, super simple stuff. Okay, I will take the gear up. And now once I'm up in the air, I will now engage the autopilot. So autopilot is on. And we passed 1,500 feet. That's usually the thrust reduction altitude. So you can see the lever climb is blinking there. So I'm reducing the thrust to the climb detent. There's the climb detent. So thrust reduction altitude 1,500 feet. So we are saying nav, because I see nav is engaged. I can see we are now flying the GPS route. Speed is going closer to the red zone, so there is flaps retraction. And I can see the speed restriction of 240 as magenta color. So once we get past that GPS point, the aircraft allows itself to go further than that, meaning 250. Now you can see that changed now to 250. So it's now considering we passed the GPS point. Okay, so what's happening there? Nothing much to see out there. There's just clouds and blue. So at the map we can see we are flying out of Istanbul at the moment. I can put a map overlay here if you want to see it like that. So we are following the actual seat out of Istanbul there. Okay, you can hear from the engine sounds that the engine sound is going down. I can see that we are leveling off at 6,000. Alright, So of course the flight mode annunciator panel is one of the most important features, because here you know how it thinks. So it has speed mode, there's the vertical profile, so we are on cruise altitude, and then you have the lateral mode, which is the nav. So I guess that's the VNav and LNav. In Boeing it's more you press the LNav and VNav buttons, but here you don't have LNav and VNav buttons as such. Okay, we can take a look at the map. So I'm a little bit zooming out so you can see what kind of route we have. I don't know if you can see it from the video if I get a little bit closer, but maybe the zoom like that. No, that zoom is not good. There are certain points, of course, the FMGC calculates top of descent and top of climb. At the moment, one object is interesting, is the magenta D there, the delta stands for deceleration point. So when the airplane would fly the route there, at that point it automatically starts to decelerate. And where does it then decelerate? Well, because we have a flight plan set up, you can see that there is the velocity approach 136, so it would actually reduce the speed to 136. This one you can find on the performance page. So you have cruise page, you have descent phase, and you have approach phase. On approach phase 136 will be our landing speed. So I'm actually now cruising. Well, you guys know better the area, but if the airplane is there, we're pretty much on top of the town now. You can see there. Maybe from there you can a little bit see city lights. I put a little bit dusk, so in the dusk you can see the runway more clearer than if it would be daytime. So we have now totally managed mode, but if air traffic controller tells us to go to a certain heading, it is simple. When turning this, let's say they say to us Turkish Airlines 320, turn heading 220. What do you guys think? Will it go there now? No. The ball is there. We're still in managed. So in managed mode, you fly GPS. And you can see the modes are still in nav. Even if we set the number there. The main feature here is if you pull the knob, if you push the knob, you tell, if I now push that, you can see it goes down back to the lines there. So pushing is like AIRBUS, take control. But because they said to us now, Turkish Airlines 320, turn heading 220, when you pull, so I'm pulling towards myself, you select. So I can see that the ball went away, so now we are in heading mode. So we're flying heading, basic stuff, right? I can hear, you probably hear the click click sound there, so it's reduced automatics. So now we are flying heading. Alright. That GPS point has actually a 9,000 feet restriction, and we are down to 6,000, but we're gonna now disregard that. Of course it calculates the top of descent point, but if you want to calculate, you probably know the rule of, or some rule of thumbs. methods of finding the top of descent by yourself, but shortly, you are somewhere and there's the runway. You want to know the distance to the runway, so you go to the program page and just a second, LTF. So our destination is Lima Tango Foxtrot Juliet, and not only that, I want to enter 06. That would otherwise count the center point of airport area, but now it counts to the threshold of the runway. So if I enter this now here, you can see it there, it went. So you get a bird straight line, like a bird strip to the runway. You can see exactly distance. So with this, with the help of this, you can predict the top of descent just by yourself and doing basic calculations. Right, so about our trip, we went to the heading. Also, if you think about the altitude, if air traffic control tells you Turkish Airlines descent 5,000, so I will enter now 5,000 here, and I want Airbus to take control, so I push it, but the ball doesn't come here, which I have an idea why the ball doesn't come here. It's because we are in heading mode. You cannot do a managed descent if you don't follow the GPS route. Maybe basic stuff for you guys. Alright, so it doesn't do a managed descent. The other options are entering vertical speed by ourselves. So let's go down 800 feet per minute, and I have this number here, but again, what is the truth? The truth is that we're still in cruise altitude and nothing is happening. I need to tell it, so I'm pulling it. I can see I pulled it, so the flight mode announcer tells you that the vertical speed mode is now 800 feet per minute, and the blue is the ready color. So 5,000 feet is in readiness. Now you can see that it's striving to go now down 800 feet per minute. So that's it. We do have a mixture now of modes. We have selected the vertical speed, we have selected the heading, but we have managed speed. Now the managed speed is constant now, 250 knots, because we are under 10,000 feet. So in this case, if the air traffic controller tells that Turkish Airlines 320, turn heading 150. So now, of course, because this is already selected mode, you can see it starts to do it right away. I know I'm concentrating much of this. The overhead panel, we don't do anything there. Electricity, fuel, hydraulics, everything is an automatic, so nothing to do much here. And of course here, basic stuff, thrust levers doesn't move, but you can see that the trim is moving, so automatic trim is on. Super comfortable flying. Alright, let's do some dramatic stuff. There's a big GPS route there, but if the air traffic controller tells us now that Turkish Airlines 320 direct Obiksi, so we want to go direct to that GPS point. So we do have the MCDU, and the first position is the direct to button, and there is a list of GPS points that are part of our flight plan. So there is Obixi, right? So I'm pressing Obixi now. Now you can see it does the rerouting, but what does it actually do? Again, flight mode FMA shows it. It's still in heading mode. It flies heading. But because we have to insert it first, so I will press insert now. Bang, and there it goes. So now we are in nav mode. And now you can see where we are at the moment. Familiar places probably for you guys. There we are. So I guess we are getting closer already. I can put the ALS chart for you there. So the speed is way too much now. So what you can do in AIRBUS, you can activate the approach phase. Confirm. So when I activate the approach phase now, you can see it tries to go to the 136, which is pre-calculated landing speed. So you can probably hear it reduce the thrust. We are not in managed mode at the moment regarding the altitude, but if I press there, sorry, yes, we are at 5,000, so it of course doesn't do anything, but there is a 4,000, so we want to go down to 4,000 feet. So now we have managed descent. Okay, if we think about where the speed goes now in this approach phase, it doesn't go lower than 200. You can see the green ball speed there. So naturally, because we're not taking out flaps, the speed cannot be less than that. Alright, let's press ILS. And you can see the ILS, the localizer signal is here. It's on our right hand side. So that is logical. If you look at the map, the localizer signal is on our right hand side at the moment. Alright, so we did our managed speed, but then we actually see that there is actually, we need to be at 210 knots. Okay, it could be less. But we have had managed speed, but let's say we should keep up 210 knots because there's traffic behind us or something. So we are at managed speed, and the managed speed keeps the 200 knots at the moment because we haven't taken out any flaps. So Turkish Airlines 320, speed 210. So again, I pulled it because I want control. So I'm selecting now 210 knots. So the speed indicator is now blue, it's not magenta anymore, so we are in selected mode. Okay, so we have our basic basic numbers of 4,000 feet checked, 210 knots checked. Now what is the distance to the runway? Roughly maybe 22 nautical miles. But we had the method, oh that was pretty close actually, 21.9 was it? Yeah. Alright. So what is the modes? We are in speed mode, we are in altitude, we are in nav. So naturally it will follow the GPS. If we wouldn't do anything, it will just be on this altitude and follow GPS and fly up above the airport because it doesn't understand where to descend. So we can look at the map. We know that we need to start to descend where we have 7.3 3 nautical miles to the airport. And we see it here. There's the distance measurement. Alright, so we are closing in. We need to start thinking about lift power. So flaps, of course. So is flaps 1 possible? It is if speed is less than 230 knots, and we know it is. So I'm putting flaps 1 there. You can see the flaps are coming out. Okay, so there was the flaps speed there. If we are now Turkish Airlines 320, clear for ILS approach runway 06. So we are in a cloud. You can see the plane is turning because it's now, at the moment, it's following the GPS, but it won't catch the localizer in GPS mode. So we need to press either localizer to just catch the localizer, or we can press approach that catches the localizer and the glide. So we're gonna press now approach. Okay, Turkish Airlines 320, reduce speed 180. I'm reducing speed at 180. Okay, so when I pressed approach, you can see the modes have now changed. We have a category 3 landing, and I will put both autopilots on for that. So we are thinking altitude 4,000. Actually, we need to go down to 3,000. Let's do 3,000. Okay, okay, I actually now pulled the altitude knob and put 3,000, pulled it. So now we're going down in open descent mode. So it goes down as fast as this can without losing or adding speed. So you can see that the mode changed now, that we are not in nav mode. We have lock star. So we are catching the localizer. We are in open descent, trying to catch altitude 3,000, plus the glide scope is ready. So at the last GPS point, we're gonna catch the glide, and we know it's at 7.3. You can see that on our map, our airplane is there. So there you can maybe see that 7.3 nautical miles, we're gonna catch the glide. Of course, we already see the glide there. So we are lock star. We are lock in localizer mode, and we have altitude star, so it captures the altitude. But we also have glide scope. So the blue is a ready color, so it's gonna catch the glide too automatically. Okay, Turkish Airlines 320, reduce speed 160. And 100 feet above glide, gear down. And flaps 2. There's a small mistake. You wanna take flaps, the gear down between flaps 2 and 3. The co-pilot is having too much work at the moment. And I'm reducing speed. And actually, I can just press there. 2,500. And because I'm close to the air, but you can see the runway there. So I'm pressing that speed because I want managed speed, because I know pre-calculated speed is 136. You can see the magenta color, so now we have managed speed again. I'm putting auto brake to low, which is the basic setting for that, and I'm putting the spoilers to arm.
2,000.
Alright. So we catch the localizer automatically. I will put flaps 3. We catch the glide scope automatically. Trying to hold the camera stable, so I can see how the airplane is thinking. Glide scope, localizer, and flight directors are now, of course, following the ILS signals. Previously they took out from altitude or heading, or from GPS. And flaps full is landing checklist last one. So now landing checklist is complete. There's something wrong with the localizer and the puppy lights. They are not synced on this airport for some reason. They are a little bit off. Yeah. So because we are fully automatic, it will go to a landing mode and flare mode. I can actually disconnect the autopilot now.
500.
I'm disconnecting the autopilot, so we're going back to category 1.
400.
So the the runway is there. I'm not gonna show you that. I'm gonna show this screen. You can see it's in landing mode now. Of course it won't not do the landing mode because we have manual. But you can see there
100.
it's 2.5 degrees the nose at around 800 feet
50,
per minute.
40,
At
30,
30 I'm gonna
20,
flare the nose
retard.
up to 5 degrees. So you can see the vertical speed, and we're gonna touch ground now. So we had almost zero vertical speed when we touched ground. And I'm gonna put the thrust reverser. A little bit difficult to fly with one hand, but I hope you can reverse and you have rollout mode, yeah. So maybe it's a familiar theme that, of course, with the help of rudder, the autopilot can still keep you on the runway then. Yep. So basic thought: you can take the thrust away whenever you want, but maybe not before 50. Of course, the indicated places when it calls out the retard to retard the thrust levers. I'm just used to doing a little bit earlier, so the engines are a little bit like they calm down before landing. So then 40, 30, you can rewind the video, but around 30 I was starting to pull up the nose from 2.5 degrees to 5 degrees, and then when I pull it up, and then I just keep it at around 5 degrees, just that this nose stays up. And so when the radio altitude hits 0, I think it didn't show a number, maybe it didn't show or a 2. So 200 feet per minute downwards is biggest number the airplane can say. So 200 feet per minute vertical speed is smallest number it will say. So everything from 0 or 2 or 300 feet per minute downwards movement is fine. It's a good realistic landing. Okay, so wasn't maybe the best landing. It was okay, but maybe with one hand it was a little bit difficult. I hope the video will show that also. So you can see there we are. Sabiha. I don't even try to pronounce that. Gokshen, how do you say that? But there you can see our short route there. So there we are. Welcome to Turkey. You can put questions afterwards if you have something you wanna commentate or ask. So see you guys later. Bye.